Internet challenges, lack of funds to purchase data, devices, or print learning materials are some of the challenges parents have been facing as COVID-19 backed them into the new reality of homeschooling in Jamaica. But what if your child has a learning disability and needs special education? Krista Campbell looks at those challenges in a three-part Primetime News special report.
When COVID-19 forced the indefinite closure of schools in March, children with special learning needs were particularly affected. That's because it interrupted the regular routine some children, like those with autism and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder (ADHD), need to function well. And homeschooling a child with special needs has been a challenge, as Manchester resident Kadian Tyndale explains.
Even though they are doing simple steps now, like doing their letters and coloring, we might find that very easy for us. But when they're at school, it helps. The teacher doing the physical work helps more than the parent doing it. It is hard to do it.
And even harder because she has to take her 15-year-old son, who has the rare genetic disorder Soto syndrome, with her to work. Donnelly Bowes struggles with the many printed materials for her 12-year-old son, who has attention deficit hyperactive disorder (ADHD).
It mainly consists of colors, shapes, and matching stuff. And sometimes he doesn't focus none at all. You have to be all over the place with him to keep him at one place for the moment, for a few moments, just to do the work.
Child psychologist and family therapist Dr. Orlean Brown-Earl says the lack of resource materials at home also add to the challenges.
And to be constantly looking at somebody, speaking to them. The teacher might have the manipulatives on the screen, but what do they have at home? Probably a few stones, probably some pieces of paper. It's just not the same thing. And so this has been causing great distress for parents who do not have the skill sets to work with these children.
She stressed that hands-on learning is important for children with special needs.
You might have a child with Down syndrome who is operating at a much lower level in terms of the academic skills. Mother is not trained to work with that child. Father, auntie, grandma are not trained to work with a child. Life was so much easier when they dropped the child off at 8 and picked the child back up at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Music is a big part of the online classes for children with special needs, but some teachers lack the resources needed.
I normally have all the students on because of internet access, probably just 3 students or 2 students on. The most we had was 8.
At school, he's called the drummer boy. And so anything he finds, he makes it into a drum. And so the singing, I have to get him on YouTube with songs that he loves, and he will be singing all day.
Both parents say they have been trying to add a mix of other activities to help keep their children occupied.
He loves biking, so we'll allow him to do some biking and then tell him after you've done the biking, then you can do some schoolwork.
He doesn't watch movie. He doesn't watch cartoon either. Just game and songs and church. Basically, his world is around church. His world is around church. So when he come on to the gospel and the preaching, he will sit one place for the whole day for that.
In part 2 of this special report, we look at what parents have been doing to cope and the help they need to homeschool their children with special needs. Krista Campbell, TVJ News.